case you didn't watch my videos from 2019, I'm gonna say it right here. I fucking love Doraemon. If I could get a little personal, I think this and Sonic the Hedgehog around this time really changed my life. Even nearly 10 years later, Doraemon still just happens to put a smile on my face, motivating me to do better, put in more effort, and above all else, keep moving forward. And fuck man, I also just watched Stand By Me 2 a few weeks ago and oh my god, it was incredible. It really showed off what Doraemon meant to people all over the world, myself included. And if this is the last thing we'll ever get from the Bang Zoom cast, I am perfectly fine with that. So Doraemon really does mean a lot to me, and I mean a lot. So while I'm sad that the series didn't pick up as much popularity as I'd hope it did, I'm still thankful that Bang Zoom even gave us this show. And I really wish that Disney respected it more. Seriously, Disney only aired the show at 8 AM during the summer. That includes reruns, by the way. But I think I'm getting too off topic. Today I'm going to be giving more tough love to Doraemon USA, as well as finally doing my first ever top 10 remaster. Today I'm going to once again be going over 5 episodes that does not represent the series well at all. Rather if they were poorly written, annoying, or just straight up not fun to watch. There is one rule I'm going to add for this criteria though. Since this is a remastered countdown, I'm only going to allow 2 episodes that were on my original list to appear on this one. Not only because a lot of my opinions have changed since my first list, but there was also a few episodes that I completely forgot about, some of which I felt like should have been on my original list. I hope you're ready because I am. Here are my top 5 worst US Doraemon episodes remastered.
Yes, we gotta get out of here! We're doomed! Since I'm dreaming, you invite me to your house to eat all these yummy buns? Nope, I'm not dreaming!
I bet those of you who watched my original list are surprised by this. Yeah, my best friend Doraemon is only number 5 on this list. Remember when I said that there was only going to be 2 episodes that appeared on my original list to appear on this one? This is one of them. Out of all the episodes that were on my original list, this episode is the one that had my opinions change the most. In fact, I'd argue that this is the only episode on my original list that I don't even consider bad anymore. However, I do consider it on the lower side of mediocre, and I do want to give off a better explanation than I did last time. So Sneech wants Doraemon to be his new best friend, so he uses the buddy beacon and remote that Doraemon lends him to take his friendship by force. I'm just gonna get all the problems I have with this episode out of the way. I still don't like how Sneech is written in this episode. I get that Sneech has always been an asshole, and yes, you are supposed to root against him, but that doesn't automatically mean I like watching him being an asshole. I don't mind watching Sneech in episodes like the Mecha Maker because his cruelty isn't played so over the top. Neither is the other people suffering. But seeing Nobi feeling depressed and breaking down crying over what Sneech does in this episode is just genuinely hard to watch. Okay, maybe not hard to watch, but it's hard for me to just look past it and not really mind it too much. And I still don't like the reveal at the end, where it was revealed that the buddy beacon was on Doraemon's left foot, despite the fact that we've seen both of his feet being raised plenty of times in the episode, and yet the buddy beacon is not there. And like I said before, and I still think this, it feels like a cop-out. And I know that's not necessarily the script nor the dub's fault, but more like the animation team, which Bang Zoom overall didn't really have much control over outside of a few edits. And I think that's really it for my negatives. Yeah, I know that kind of brings down the episode a bit, but I forgot how funny this episode is. Seeing Sneech getting his ass beat by a group of kids is really funny and very deserving. Not only because of what he did to Doraemon and Nobi, but mostly because, well, he kind of brought it on himself. Literally, look at this clip.
Like way up there!
Hey! Huh?
Hand over that soccer ball you guys are playing with and get lost!
Yeah, right. Who does he think he is?
Get real!
But these guys were already using it.
And here I was thinking you and me were besties! Fine, if you won't do it, then I'll get it myself!
Like the show itself, there are a number of funny moments. Doraemon is very basic in terms of its comedy, but when a joke really makes you laugh, it makes you laugh. And because its humor is basic, it doesn't make you really cringe at its jokes either. So overall, My Best Friend Doraemon is a pretty episode. Nothing bad, but nothing good either. So why exactly did I put it on this list? I don't know, I just wanted to talk about it again. Back when I talked about this episode in 2019, I think I did what a lot of reviewers always do and just blew it way out of proportion. Which is a mistake I see a lot of reviewers doing, and I think that it's by time we start taking note of that and stop doing it. Outside of this episode and another one I'm going to be talking about later on this list, there is one more episode I did want to add on this list. However, I thought that episode was a little bit too similar to my number 4 entry. Speaking of which,
I gotta get out of here! I have no idea what it'll ask me to do next! Yes, we gotta get out of here! We're doomed! It's happening!
For those of you who haven't seen my original video, I talked about the action planner on my worst list. During that segment, I disclaimed that I did not like the treatment of Doraemon because it felt genuinely unfair. Another thing that I also mentioned during that entry is the fact that there was 2 other episodes in the exact same season where Doraemon gets treated extremely unfairly for barely any fault of his own. Some people would call this a torture porn episode, but honestly I feel like that's way too extreme. Plus, who the hell unironically uses the word torture porn anymore? But as it turns out, researching this video, these episodes are also back to back in the same goddamn season. I don't know why they thought it was a fun plot to reuse when the episodes were either extremely flawed or just downright bad. Thankfully, Werewolf Cream isn't as bad as the action planner, but this episode is still not fun to watch. After Doraemon leaves his werewolf cream out in the open to teach Nobi a lesson about respect, Nobi's mom Tammy puts on some of the cream by complete accident. But because she's going out in public to meet up with a friend, it's up to Doraemon to prevent her from becoming a werewolf. How the cream works exactly is that if you see something circular, you turn into a werewolf. So it's a series of events of Doraemon preventing Tammy from seeing anything circular. Making faces, eating balloons, invading private property. Yeah, that happens. It's just not funny, man. Although I feel really bad for Doraemon in this episode because he has to go through all of this while getting yelled at constantly, he's a complete dumbass in this episode. I'm not even fucking with you. In the episode that is right before this one, that aired literally the day before, and was the episode that was right before this one on the episode order, Doraemon acts the exact same way but shows them exactly what's going on.
You don't understand. If you come in now, you'll have to get into shape. Not that you're not in shape already.
Get into shape?
Welcome, ladies, to the House of Fitness. More walking, less talking.
This does seem kind of strange.
Yep, the hallway's become a treadmill.
What?
Why not just tell her about the goddamn cream? The most Tammy is told is this line from Nobi.
Your face is gonna turn really scary! Nobi, that's enough of that.
And Nobi's whole character is that he's a dumbass. And don't give me any of that bullcrap saying that she wouldn't believe Doraemon. He's literally a fucking robot cat from the future. This may sound like a nitpick, but given what Doraemon goes through in this episode, it makes you wonder, why doesn't he just tell her? I don't like watching Doraemon making himself look bad in front of Tammy's friend. I don't like watching Doraemon ruin Sue's hopscotch. And I certainly don't like to see Doraemon getting its ass beat by Sneech and Big G. I know I said that the show's humor doesn't really make you cringe per se, but these don't even feel like jokes. They feel like half-ass attempts at jokes, where they either completely butchered the build-up or punchline. The reason why I didn't put this any higher is because, well, I don't even think this episode's worse than the action planner. Far from it. I thought the episode's beginning was kinda nice. I really like Doraemon's attempt at teaching Nobi about respecting his mother after he completely embarrasses her at school, saying that she even looks like a werewolf when she's mad. I remember there was a few moments that I laughed at as well. I vaguely remember the gag with the little girl and her balloon getting me a few times when I was younger.
All yours. Gross.
I honestly don't even know why either. Maybe it's considering the fact that she's not questioning the fact that a blue robot cat ate her fucking balloon and it's still floating with spit on it? And there's also the gag right before where Tammy's talking about stuff with Doraemon, but he keeps making faces to prevent her from turning into a werewolf. But that's really it when it comes to my positives. Overall, Werewolf Cream is a bit of a frustrating episode. It isn't terrible, but at the same time, it's not really enjoyable to watch. And yet, it's both better than the action planner and the 3 episodes coming up on this list.
Doesn't surprise me. My mom should lend her scary face to the police. I heard that.
Yes, we gotta get out of here!
We're doomed!
It's the end of the world as we know it.
From what I was told, apparently this is a fan least favorite episode from the dub. And if that's the case, yeah, I'm with them. This episode fucking sucks. Nobi and Doraemon get a vision for the future saying that the world is gonna end in a flood. But because Doraemon and Nobi are the only ones who saw the vision, they're the only ones who believe it. Hell, it's mostly just Doraemon who believes it because Nobi has plenty of doubts throughout the episode. And here's the problem I have with this episode. See, you know this one Disney movie everybody hates called Chicken Little? Well, firstly I want to say that I don't think that movie's that bad. Well, Nobi and Doraemon might as well say the fucking sky is falling because they're constantly getting talked down to and made fun of because of their vision. And I bet you're in the comments already typing, "Oh, I bet you're the type of guy that wrote mean characters in object shows." I am. But I tell you, that's literally all this episode is. If they want everybody else to believe them, then why don't they just use the second sighters on them?
Nobi saw it all happen with these eyeballs. I'm serious. This is a gadget that shows you the future.
I told you it's not gonna happen.
Not another word.
Wow. They address a problem I had with Werewolf Cream and it still feels like a shit episode. And when I said that the second sighters are used as a plot device, I mean that's the only use it has. Other gadgets in the show feel like actual adventures, as well as a canvas for possible different interactions and different jokes. Seeing the way the characters react, interact, as well as giving an episode the identity to itself. If you asked me which episode of Doraemon was the one where they build a boat, I would have said, oh, the one where they build a spaceship? Yeah, it does look like a boat. Anyways, it's season 1, episode 1B. Then you go, no, the one where it rains. To which I reply, oh, a little adventure? You mean one of the best final specials of the series? Then you turn to my neighbor across the street and you ask him, hey, do you remember the Doraemon episode that has a really bad censorship? To which he replies, who the fuck is that? I'm pretty sure some of you found that joke fucking terrible and thought, maybe the episode could do better jokes than you. No the fuck it can't. Or maybe it can, I don't fucking know, because the episode never tries to make any jokes.
This is not a funny joke!
You're right, Tammy, there are no funny jokes in this episode. If you're not annoyed by the characters, you're constantly bored by the lack of anything else. And honestly, I think that's all you really need to know about this episode. Oh, and the very stupid ending. Yeah, it turns out all of that was a dream and there was no flood. Thanks for wasting my time, you piece of shit.
Wait! Did you dream about a flood? Maybe that's what you saw with the second ciders.
Which only happened because I kicked over the teapot and flooded the bed.
Bull fucking shit, you pissed yourself. I'm pretty sure you could tell that I literally have nothing to say about this one. To the point where I was just over-exaggerating just to entertain you guys. Again, if you're not frustrated by the characters or the ending, then you're just gonna be bored because nothing else happens. Literally, there's this point where Nobi and Doraemon just start arguing out of nowhere and it lasts for like, not even a minute. Although I do think the episodes upcoming are worse, this episode just feels like nothing. Huh. Maybe that's why I forgot to put this on the list last time.
Jeez, what a klutz.
It was your idea to drink all that tea.
Weren't they drinking coffee? Whatever.
Guys, we gotta get out of here!
More
I'm just gonna cut to the chase. I really wish I put this on my original list because I absolutely loathe this episode. I've always hated it. But it turns out when I made my original list, I completely forgot about its existence. And honestly, I wish it stayed like that. At the time of me recording this, I just rewatched this and It's the End of the World as We Know It. And although the latter is 10 times more forgettable, this one is 10 times more annoying. After Nobi walks home from school, he runs into Big G, Sneech, and Mr. Saucer. While Big G and Sneech are making fun of Nobi, Mr. Saucer will give him a prize if he's able to get photographic proof of aliens' existence. Okay, stop. It's hinted several times that the UFO episode from season 1 already happened, and is part of the continuity in this episode. So why all of a sudden do Big G and Sneech not believe Nobi when he talks about aliens? I still don't buy that the fact that everybody just believes and are perfectly fine with Doraemon existing, but aliens? Nah, that's where I draw the line! Whatever. When Nobi gets home, he accidentally trips over the UFO from season 1, aka a much better episode, accidentally causing a bunch of goat shenanigans to happen. Stretch that shit for 22 minutes and you got yourselves a half-hour special. Oh yeah, this is 22 minutes. This is probably my biggest problem with the episode, just the fact that this episode did not need to be a half-hour special. I know I keep saying this, but this is literally the UFO episode. Nobi accidentally does something with the device, aliens are called and then threaten to blow up the whole planet, and Nobi and Doraemon spend the entire episode trying to make sure that doesn't happen. And towards the beginning, they constantly remind you that the UFO episode already took place. If this is a season 1 episode, maybe I would let it slide, maybe, but this is a season 2 episode, episode 6 to be exact. It also looks like they forgot that in the UFO episode, they do a little dance before they head back to space, and not immediately barge into the fucking house. The only reason why that happened in the original was because Nobi was bothering them too much. But here, Nobi just trips over it and tries to fix it. Only once, by the way. He never really abused his power in the episode at all. Can someone tell me exactly how this gadget works? But let's get into another issue I have with this episode. The Go aliens themselves are absolutely obnoxious. Even after he solves everything with the Go alien, the motherfucker brings his entire species to invade them. And I know it's called Invasion of the Go aliens, but here, let me tell you how I'd write this episode. Step 1. Don't. Literally anything I said in my last segment I could say here. This episode barely has an identity of itself, it's not that funny, and it's straight up boring. But what makes this episode even worse is on top of all that, it has some really annoying factors of it. The whole side plot with Mr. Saucer, Big G, and Sneech did not even need to happen in the episode. When Nobi gets actual photographic evidence, none of them believe him. Not even the fucker who believes in aliens. Oh, but they believe in a robot cat from the 22nd century. Alright, that's such a small little detail, but it's so annoying once you really think think about it. And again, this episode did not need to be 22 minutes long. Literally half of this episode, the goat aliens just invade Nobi's privacy, just so he could fail another test. But when it turns out he finally got a perfect score from that test, the goat aliens take it by force. And Nobi gets yelled at the end because his mom thinks that he got another 0. The goat aliens didn't even think it was good. Literally the only thing I liked about this episode was the chase segment. I honestly don't know why. Maybe because there was actually something going on in this episode, on like 80% of it. Even still, that was probably for like less than a minute. There is little to nothing to like about this episode. Please, if you're binging this show, just skip it. You're really not losing out on much. If you really miss seeing aliens and Doraemon, then just watch UFO again, or better yet, Doraemon and the Space Shooters, which was a season 2 special that was actually worth being a special. And to think, this isn't even number 1. What could possibly be worse?
If you're gonna come up with an excuse, it better be better than space goats!
Before I reveal my number 1 pick, I'm going to list a few honorable mentions. In this case, there's only 2. The House of Force Fitness. You guys are not going to believe this, but they actually made Doraemon's treatment justified. But Nobi's still annoying and Doraemon's treatment is just slightly a little bit too much. But honestly, I really liked seeing Sneech's mom and Tammy hang out. And for the second one, this is gonna require some explaining. The Galaxy Grand Prix. Now, I know what you're saying. Yes, I do still think this is a top 2 episode in the entire show. But when you take in the context of the original Japanese version, it comes off as a bit disappointing. See, when translating this episode to Disney, a lot of content got cut from the original Japanese airing. That's because the Japanese version was twice as long as the English version. So because of that, more stuff with Devlin got cut out, as well as more stuff with Dormy. For the second time.
क्योंकि तुम रोबोट हॉस्पिटल जाते ही नहीं हो चेकअप करवाने के लिए।
However, this is not the fault of the dub, quite the opposite. Again, it's the fault of Disney for not putting more faith into the airing and advertisement for this episode. But again, literally everything else about the episode is great, so I'm not gonna let this lack of context issue from preventing me from thinking this episode any less. This is still, in my opinion, one of the best. But we're still not done. Because this is a remastered list, I want to do something really special. I want to go over my 3 episodes that were on my original list that did not make it onto this one, to really update my thoughts on those episodes. As I stated in my Werewolf Cream segment, I still don't like the action planner. In fact, if I were to redo that list, I would rank it higher. This episode, in my opinion, is still the Let's Shit on Doraemon trio of episodes. I still don't like animal transformation crackers. I still think all the characters are annoying, and the gadget itself is still pretty damn lame. While My Best Friend Doraemon was probably the episode that had my opinion changed the most, this is the one that had my opinion changed the least. I would still rank it around the spot that I ranked it at last time, which was number 4. With Genieless Magic Lamp on the other hand, I'm gonna be honest with you, I kinda lied when I said that My Best Friend Doraemon's the only episode on that list I don't consider bad anymore because this episode exists. Actually, I consider this episode kinda decent. I don't know, maybe I was relating a little bit too much on Nobi on this episode because I was being a little lazy bitch around this time. This is another one that I recently rewatched and I kinda liked it. Not one of the show's best, but definitely not one of the show's worst. As for the other 2 episodes that were on my original list, you already saw My Best Friend Doraemon on number 5. As for the final episode that was on my original list, you could already take a wild guess where that episode lands. Well, that is of course if you actually watch the dub. Or my video on it. Well, you can't now because it's partially blocked apparently. Fuck.
Rumors are true after all. The angry spirits that haunt this place have returned.
Oh, please don't tell me something like that, Big G! Tell me all that I heard was the wind!
I can't lie to you, Nobi.
I'm not gonna lie with you guys. Coming up with a new set of episodes of Ranton was genuinely hard. Not just because Doraemon is a show that has so many bangers, but most of the bad episodes just kinda blend in together, and they're not really as bad as some other shows' worst episodes. But then we come to the 2015 special, I Saw a Ghost, which, if you saw my original list, was number 1 on that list as well. But is I Saw a Ghost really that? Of course it's that bad! Why do you think I put it number 1 on both of my lists? In this episode, Big G invites everybody to a cabin in the mountains for a sleepover, to which Nobi is really excited because he never gets invited to anything. Little does he know that this is just a setup for Big G and Sneech to embarrass him, by telling him that this is an urban legend that a ghost is returning to the cabin. I personally don't really have a problem with this, it does fit their character after all. But I'm not gonna hold you, I cannot fucking stand Sue in this episode, or even Doraemon for that matter. Seriously, if this is any other episode, these two would have at least somewhat caught on that Big G and Sneech were messing with him. But no, Nobi's the one who gets yelled at because he ran around in his fucking underwear. That's not fair. Rewatching the majority of the series before this makes me realize that this is not how the character should act. It's true that Sue has laughed at Nobi's embarrassment before, but that's all she really does, just laugh at it. She never outright insults Nobi.
Don't forget to save some for the goose.
She's still someone who's concerned for his well-being and willing to step in when he's getting picked on, not joining on the fucking train because that's what everyone else is doing.
I had no idea that you were such a scaredy cat.
I could say the same thing about Doraemon. He's literally Nobi's best bud. When Doraemon does yell at Nobi, it's because he either does something stupid or he complains without putting in any effort. And when he is yelling at Nobi after he's getting picked on by Big G, it's more in a motivational way. Again, not in the way where it's like, ha, look at this loser. Shut the hell up, Nobi. The motherfucker even says this later on in the episode.
Hey, we know it's you, Sneech and Big G, so quit trying to scare us.
Okay, when it's Big G and Sneak, you guys don't suspect a thing, but when it isn't, you guys automatically point fingers to them? I don't fucking get it. Anyways, it turns out that there's an actual ghost invading the cabin. Okay, not really. It turns out that ghost was actually planted by Nobi, using the gadget called the morphing bot, in which, you guess it, morphs into anything you command it to, in which Nobi also uses it to scare everybody, as well as making himself look brave to Sneech, Big G, and Sue. Oh, but it turns out that he actually fought off an actual ghost and the ghost that he instructed, but I don't care. I found this entire second half of the episode extremely boring, and it by no means made up for the atrocity that was the first half of this episode. This isn't a term I like to use, but I would actually classify this as a mean-spirited episode. It's just an episode where we all like to just shit on Nobi because Nobi's an idiot. Even the 3 episodes that I don't like the treatment of Doraemon in, those episodes still have moments within them that I found genuinely charming or even funny. My Best Friend Doraemon and It's the End of the World as We Know It both have episodes with cruelty in them, but they either have a balance or it's not played too far. In fact, you want to know what all these episodes, every single episode, including Invasion of the Goat Aliens, has in common? They all feel like an episode of Doraemon Gadget Cat from the future. Goat Aliens may be a rehashed, poorly executed episode, but nonetheless, it still feels like an episode of the same show. This episode is just not funny at all. The jokes are either just bland or they make you go, that was a joke? You know what's sad? I laughed more times at fucking Peppa Pig than I ever did at this pile of crap. This episode had no right to be 22 minutes. I did not want to see Nobi being treated like shit for 22 minutes. And no, that stupid plot in the second half doesn't make up for it. And like I said, this just does not feel like a Doraemon episode. It feels like a shitty ass season 6 SpongeBob episode. I must say, and I probably am gonna regret this later, this is one of my personal least favorite cartoon episodes ever. Really. I genuinely do think this is on the same level as some dark era SpongeBob episodes. Arnold portrays Iggy from Hey Arnold and Frost and Fire from Adventure Time. Hell, I might go as far as to say I actually prefer watching a modern Family Guy episode over this shit. At least in that department I know what I'm getting myself into. I could at least see an audience for it. In fact, I could see an audience for literally any bad episode I just mentioned, even if it isn't from Doraemon. Maybe you don't really mind some of the dark era SpongeBob episodes. Maybe you like Iggy from Hey Arnold. Maybe you like the animation in Frost and Fire. Maybe you like goats and want to see funny goat antics. Maybe you want to see the Doraemon characters prepare for the end of the world. Literally anything to make you somewhat come back to it, even if that watch is very far into the future. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I rewatched almost every episode of Doraemon up to this point, but this is the only one I just refuse to rewatch. This is not a Doraemon episode, and I know it wholeheartedly, which is why I personally consider it the worst episode of the Doraemon USA dub. I even consider it one of my least favorite cartoon episodes of all time. And rather or not if I take back that statement in the future, that's up to me.
No thanks.
And that is gonna do it for this video. Real talk, I had a lot of fun redoing this list, and might redo a few more in the future. I want to give a huge thanks to Disney XD, Bang Zoom, Fizz Media, and of course the creator of Doraemon himself, Fujio. Thank you so much for giving us the chance to experience Doraemon here in the United States. It may have not worked out as much as I'd hoped, but I'm so grateful that they're at least still trying to give relevancy to Doraemon in the States. And hopefully we'll see Doraemon gain more relevancy in the States very soon. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. Keep on being happy, Super Hap fans.